Good evening. How are you? I'm Dr. Cassandra Washington, and welcome to Life Enhancement and Development Live. It is so wonderful to be with you all again. It's been a minute, but I'm back and ready to go. This evening, I want to talk to you about something that is so important to all of us and that we all aspire to have, and that is good success. I often talk about success on this podcast. And success is something that we all desire to have and all desire to realize in our lives. But success may look different for each of us. So tonight, I want to talk to you about not struggling to access success because I believe that even in pursuing success, or pursuing the things that we desire in the destiny for our lives, we are going to encounter resistance and challenges. But I believe that there's a way to go through that. There's a way to address it or walk the path for your life without struggling. So I want to talk to you about some things that I have learned on this journey of life and walking in success in the dreams and the visions that I have for my life. We often hear people ask the question, if you could go back and talk to your 20-year-old self, what would you say? And I thought about that question, and if I could go back in the past and be able to give myself words of encouragement, it would be not to stress about success. We're taught and encouraged, go to school, get an education. Then when you finish school, get a job. And once you go to school and get an education, then you will have that leverage that you need to get the job you want and to have the kind of life that you want. Well, that does not always happen in that way, and that's not necessarily true. And for many of us, and for all of us, the path may be different. It may not look like someone else's path. And we feel like that if I don't do it this way, or I look at this person and they're having success, if I could just do it that way, then things will work out for me. And that's not necessarily true. But I have learned that there are certain things that you have to adhere to, and there are certain things that you have to do in order to be at rest while pursuing success. So I want to talk to you about some things that I have learned. And one thing that I want to say in the beginning and starting out, pursuing success from a place of self-effort often results in frustration and anxiety. When you have a dream or vision or desire in your heart, the first thing that we do is try to make it happen. We do what we think to try to make it happen. And I believe that's one of the first things with mistakes that we make, because I believe it is God that put the desire in your heart to do certain things or to have certain things or to have the kind of life that you desire to have. It is God that puts that desire there. So if he's the one who puts the desire in your heart for a certain thing or to do a certain thing, I just believe that he is the one that we need to acknowledge, and he is the one that we need to seek and ask and rely on to make it happen. So I think for many of us, and in the beginning, I did it. You refuse to acknowledge the one who gave you the desire and the aspiration and the dream in the beginning, because we get so excited. We get so excited about what we see and what we want and what we desire. And we immediately begin to map out a plan to make that happen. But there's nothing wrong with making plans, because the Bible tells us in Proverbs, I believe 16:1, that we can make plans, but it is God's plan that will eventually prevail in our lives. So there's nothing wrong with making plans, but we need to seek the one, acknowledge the one who gave you the desire and the dream and the vision in the first place. And then we need to address our motives as to why. Examine your why. Why do you want these certain things? Why are you pursuing this? Is it for your own personal gain? Is it for selfish motives? Do you want this? Do you want it just for yourself? Do you want it because you want to be seen as important? Do you want it because you want to have a certain social status or have a certain financial status? There's nothing wrong with that. But is it your motive just for you? to consume it for yourself, to make yourself look big or look great, or to just have these things for yourself and not to really be a help or support to someone else. And then I think another thing that we do, we try to go about it according to what we think. As I said, we try to go about it the way we think we should go about it, instead of acknowledging God and ask Him, is this the right path for me to take? Is this the right thing for me to do? Now, I want to read a scripture to you that kind of supports and aligns with what I'm saying, because when we do it our way and when we try to go according to what we think, then we get into some inward battles and get into some inward struggles and get into some things that may cause us to not act accordingly or respectfully to others. We get into places where we may cross boundaries in someone else's life. We step on other people or misuse other people, not respecting them, not operating in integrity in what it is that we are trying to do, because we are trying to do things our way and do on our own. So James chapter 4 verse 1 through says, and I'm reading this from the Living Bible. It says, what causes fights and quarrels among you? Don't they come from your desires that battle within you? You desire, but do not have, so you kill. You covet, but you cannot get what you want, so you quarrel and fight. You do not have because you do not ask God. When you ask, you do not receive because you ask with wrong motives, that you may spend what you get on your pleasures. So I wanted to support what I was just saying, and this is biblical. When you do not acknowledge God, when you do not ask Him for the desires that He has put in your heart, but when you go about your own way to do it because you are coveting, or because you become jealous, and then you set out to try to undermine someone else to try to get ahead, or you participate in trying to destroy someone's reputation or try to kill someone's character because you think you have competition and you have to eliminate this other person that you feel may be doing better than you, or you believe have what you have and it belongs to you. So he's saying this is where the quarrel and the fighting and the battles come from, because you do not have a right motive. And if you would just ask God in the beginning, He would give you the wisdom to know what to do and how to do to pursue the desires in your heart the right way. So James is telling us that if you want to be successful and if you want to access success in your life, then ask God. Ask God, and don't try to go about it in your own ways, and let your motives be pure. Let your motives be that of good intentions for whatever it is that you're pursuing and that you want. So I want to encourage you in this. Good success is for you. God said that He wants you to be successful. He says He wants you to prosper in every area of your life. He wants you to prosper in your soul, in your spirit, in your body. He wants your body to be healthy. He wants your mind to be healthy. He wants your relationships to be healthy. He wants every area of your life. He wants you to see success, good results in every area of your life. But the way to it is a path of trust and rest in Him, in knowing that He is the one who's going to make it happen. What do I mean by rest? Rest means that you are placed in trust and confidence in applying His principles, His way to get the desires of what you want, and that you are diligent. Diligent means that you are consistently using your skills with excellence. You know, we like to use the word also hard, working with diligence, but I like to use the word you're consistent in using your skills in an excellent way. You're doing the best to your ability. You're consistent. You're operating in integrity. You're found doing what you're supposed to be doing as unto God, in an excellent way. Nobody is watching. You're doing it with integrity. Nobody's standing over you, making you do it. But you know this is what you need to do, and you're doing it in excellence. And the skills and abilities that you have, you're constantly building and developing and adding to those skills. And you are always using your skills, using your abilities to be helpful and to be a blessing. And that is your goal and that is your motive. To me, that's what diligence is. So he wants us to have good success, and we can find that in Joshua 1 and 8. God told Joshua when he called him into a position of leadership, he says, the principles and the laws that I've given you, I want you to meditate in them day and night. I want you to keep these in your heart and meditate on them day and night. What does meditate mean? It's to think about them. Think about God's way of doing things in whatever area it is. If you want a promotion on a job, if you want finances, if you want to multiply your finances, how does God say go about doing them? If you want to see good health in your body, how does he say do that? If you want to see a healthy marriage, a healthy relationship with your children or with your friends or even with your coworkers on your job, how did he say we should go about treating people, resolving conflict, and being able to communicate with each other, respecting each other? What does he say about those things? So he said we should meditate in his ways, his principles at all times, that we may do them. And when we do that, we will make our way prosperous and we will have good success. So good success is for you. He wants you to be blessed. He wants you to have a great life. He wants you to be the best of the best. For example, in Proverbs, it says, do you see someone who's skilled in their work? They will serve before kings and they will not serve before low-ranking people. If you are a person who's diligent in applying the principles of God, he's going to allow you to be successful and he's going to bring you before great men. He's going to let you be in the midst of the best and make you one of the best. So how do we not struggle? How is it that we can live our life without straining and without spending all our energy with all just trying and working hard, even in the face of difficulties and challenges and opposition, because opposition is going to come, difficulties are going to come. But how do we not struggle? How do we remain in a place of rest, trust, and confidence, and yet be diligent in our work and our skills and what we do to see the results that we want to see in our lives? Well, we are told to ask God for what we need. Seek him, ask him for what we need. And if you don't know what to do, know how to do, ask him for wisdom. For in that same chapter of James, 4th chapter, he tells us that if you don't have wisdom, if you don't know what to do, then you ask God to give you the wisdom, and he will gladly give you the wisdom. He won't fuss at you. He won't uh, refute you or rebuke you or be angry with you or resist you for asking for wisdom. So ask him for the wisdom to know what to do, how to do. Well, God, you have put this dream in my heart. You have put this vision in my heart. You have put this desire in me to do these things. How do I go about doing them? And when he shows you and when he puts you in the place to do these things, then be obedient and do them. And that does not mean that challenges and difficulties won't come. I think about Joseph. When Joseph was given a dream that one day he was going to be in a position of leadership and his brothers and his parents would serve him. Joseph had no idea of how he was going to get to that place, but he knew it was going to happen. And how do I know he was going to happen? Because Joseph talked about it. He talked about it so much so that his brothers didn't like him. They were angry. They were jealous. They didn't like him, and they eventually sold Joseph into slavery. They went against his own brother, and you know that happens even today. When we know who we are, when we are confident in who we are, and we carry ourselves in that way. And I'm not talking about arrogance, I'm talking about confidence. When you know who you are, when you know where you're going and know what you're going to do, and you often talk of it, you speak of it, you declare it out of your mouth. Everybody's not going to like you for that. And everybody is not going to be on board and support you for that. And I think a lot of times we get discouraged, or we get disappointed because it comes from people who are close to us. We want our family to support us. We want our friends to support us, but it doesn't always happen that way. And that's what happened to Joseph. It was his own family who turned against him, but it was all God's plan. But what I like about Joseph, when I read about him, when I read the story, he remained the same all the time. He kept a good attitude. He did not lose his trust and faith in God, and he kept being diligent and operating in his gift and his skills and his abilities. When he was put in Potiphar's house as his servant, Joseph used his skills and abilities, and he operated to the best of his ability and in such excellence that this man put him in charge of everything in his house. And then when he was later thrown into prison, he operated in such excellence in his gifts and abilities that he was put in charge of the prison. And he never lost focus of who he was and his gifts and abilities, and he operated in excellence at all times, even in the midst of challenges and opposition and difficulties. And that's what we have to do. Remain in a place of rest, trust, and confidence in who you are and who you belong to. And let God take care of you, and let Him direct your path, lead you in the best path and in the way to get to where He wants you to be. And eventually, that's what Joseph did. He ended up becoming second in command in Egypt, and everything was turned over to him, and he was able to be a blessing to his family, to people in the country of Egypt. And he was in charge of being responsible for giving resources and food to people from everywhere, because they had to come to Egypt to buy. But God had a plan for him all along. So even in the midst of those difficult times, those hard times, those times of opposition, disappointment, and hurt, he remained the same, kept on doing what he knew to do, which was right, trust in God, and use his skills and abilities. And even in doing that, using his skills, using his abilities, using his gift, those gifts and abilities were continually being developed and honed. By the time he got to that place of leadership and position, Joseph was well able to operate in his purpose and realize his destiny, and he was great at what he did. So I want to encourage you not to be distracted by the opposition or the challenges, and don't let those things cause you to change in your attitude, in your confidence, and in your faith. So in John 16:23-24, it says, "At that time, you won't need to ask me for anything." And this is Jesus talking to his disciples, because he was getting ready to go to the cross, but he wanted to encourage them and give them more teaching and training before he left. He said, "For you can go directly to the Father and ask him, and he will give you what you ask for, because you told God that I said that you can have it. You haven't tried this before, but begin now. Ask using my name, and you will receive, and your cup of joy will overflow." So we are encouraged to ask God for anything that we need. Ask him. Ask him, how do I do what it is that you want me to do? Trust him to give you the resources. Trust him to put the right things in your path. Trust him to put the right people in your path. Trust him to lead you to the right resources. Trust him to download his wisdom into you, give you the right information, give you the knowledge and the understanding that you need, give you the revelation, give you the creative ideas. Trust him to do those things. Ask him, and he will give you everything you need, and trust that he will do that. So what am I saying? Applying and implementing the principles of God would allow you to flow in the things that he wants you to do, and you will see the result and success in your life without struggle and without being anxious and worried and uptight and trying to figure out things on your own. But if you ask God and rest in him and trust him, he will teach you how to do things without struggle. Now, I didn't say you didn't have to be diligent, or you wouldn't have to be consistent and work and apply yourself in the things that you have to do, but you don't have to be frustrated. And that's how I know when I'm doing things in my own, trying to do things with my own efforts and my own abilities, and I'm sitting trying to figure it out, is when I become frustrated. Because I think frustration is a result of you trying to do something and you don't have the ability to do it, or you don't have the withdrawal to do it within your own natural intelligence and abilities. So you have to stop. You have to stop, be still, get in a quiet place so that you can hear the instruction as to what to do. And many times, God is just waiting for us to stop our stuff. Stop trying to do it our way, and just rest and relax. And believe it or not, sometimes just stop, don't do anything, and allow for him to bring to you what it is that he wants you to have and what it is that he wants you to do. I have learned like this: if he doesn't tell me to do anything, I don't do anything. If he doesn't tell me not to say what to say, I don't say anything. I only act upon what he tells me to do. And many times we get caught up in it. What I need to, what should I do? What should I do? What should I do? Sometimes don't do anything. Just be still, be quiet, and wait. And the right thing for you to do, he will tell you. And the right thing for you to have to do what you need to do, he will bring it to you or lead you to it. So we get into frustration and anxiety and working and trying, and that's what messes us up, and that's what causes us to get in a place of struggle. And we're trying, and you feel like you working, if things are working against you and you can't move forward. Many times it's because you're trying to do something on your own. So I want you to remember this: applying and implementing the principles of God will help you to flow, not struggle. You can live with an attitude of confidence that you're doing things the right way and what you are doing is working. When you allow yourself to flow with God and with what He's telling you to do, not with what you want to do. And when you allow yourself to implement the principles of God and flow with him, you won't be concerned about the challenges or the oppositions, because you are in a place of peace, knowing that the great one is with you. And then when you are trusting in his way to make you prosperous and successful, you're not trusting in your own efforts, and you are resting and allowing him to lead you and tell you what to do. And then finally, you are focusing on being consistent and leave the results up to him. You have made up your mind, I'm going to show up every day, doing what I'm supposed to do, operating in my abilities and my skills and my gifts in a way of excellence. And I'm going to do what I need to do and leave the results up to him, because he has already said that if I do it his way, if I implement and apply his principles and meditate and think about how he says to do things, then my way is going to be prosperous. How I do it, the process is going to work, and I'm going to have good success. So I want to encourage you to rest and trust in God's way of doing things. And I promise you, when you do it his way, you will flow with him. You will flow with him, and it won't be a struggle. It's a struggle because you're trying to do something according to what you think, your own intellectual or natural ability, and not submit yourself to his way. Because really, we think, oh, I got to do something. This really can't be this easy. And when you get through working and you come to the end of yourself, and when you just say, I can't do it, this is not working, I just quit and give up. That's when it happens. The doors open. You have your breakthrough because really you've gotten somewhere and sat down and got out of your own way. And you have made room and made it possible for you to hear the wisdom and instruction of God. And then when you do that, and when you just trust him and rest and allow him to lead you and flow with him, you was like, oh my gosh, if I had just realized in the beginning that that's all I had to do, all this stress and anxiety and worry that I put myself to, I could have saved myself the trouble. So let's start out first by acknowledging him. When he put that desire, if you have a desire to have a new home, put it before him. Okay, God, I know I want to have a new home, and I desire this because you said that you would give me houses that I didn't build, and that you would give me these things. Because see, he wants you to be he wants you to have a wonderful relationship with him, but he also wants you to be able to have a good life here on this earth as well. But there's a way to have good success, and he says when we apply ourselves to his way of doing things, when we think about and meditate on his principles and allow them to take root in our lives, we're going to have good relationships. We're going to have a great relationship with him. We're going to have great relationship with our friends and our families. We will see success in our bodies. If you're going through a sickness or you're going through infirmity in your body, you meditate on what he says, that healing is the children's bread, that by the stripes of Jesus Christ we are healed. Meditate on those things, and then go back and think about, and I often think about this, and this is what helped me to start on my health journey again, that this body is the temple of God. And I am supposed to be a great steward of this body. So I got to be careful what I put in it. I got to be mindful what I put in this body. I have to make sure that I take care of it, because you cannot go about doing the things that you need to do and you're sickly. You don't have good health. Good health is wealth. So we have to be mindful that how we take care of this body, what we do in this body, how we use this body. Food is very important. And many times we don't think that it's important what we eat, and that it is necessary for us to be mindful of those things. Because when we abuse our body with food, that is not godly either. So we have to think about his way of seeing things, his perspective, and apply his principles, even when it comes to our finances and our money. Money, when he bless you with money, it is for you to be able to be a blessing in your life, but also to be a blessing to others. So our motives have to be right. Our motives cannot be selfish. And when we apply his ways, his principles to our lives and do things his way and surrender ourselves to him and get rid of, I'm going to do my thing, I'm going to live it my way, then we will realize that when we get into the flow with God, we will realize that life will not be a struggle. Success will not be a struggle to attain. Well, I hope that I have said something to help you, that you will be able to take these principles and the things that I have said to apply it in your life, and that you will continue on your journey to pursue success, but it will be from a place of rest, a place of confidence, a place of trust, and flow with God. Have a great evening and a wonderful, wonderful weekend.